Hello students, again you are most welcome in the new lecture of biology, and in this lecture we are going to discuss about the endocrine and exocrine system. That is, within that whatever the hormones are coming and whatever the glands are there, we will be discussing all these points over here. So let us begin and see what are hormones. First of all, you can see hormones. So what are hormones? You can understand very easily that hormones are the biochemicals. Hormones are the biochemicals. Like there are certain chemicals which you can see most of your time. Similarly, whatever the chemicals which are present inside our human body or any organism's body, the chemicals which are present in a living body, these chemicals, they are called as biochemicals. So hope it is clear. So what are hormones? Hormones are the biochemicals which are secreted, which are released by our special tissues or organs. By the special tissues or organs, whatever the chemicals, the biochemicals, they are secreted, they are released, they are called as hormones. Okay, so what are hormones? These are the biochemicals which are secreted or released by special tissues or organs. Okay, these special tissues and organs, they are called as glands. Special tissues or glands, special tissues or organs are called as glands. So whatever the glands are there, these glands, they secrete the biochemicals called as hormones. Hope it is clear. Now hormones, what they do? Hormones help us to control and coordinate activities of our body. Whatever the living organism are there, we all do lot of activities we do. So all these activities we are controlling and coordinating. We are controlling and coordinating by the help of some biochemicals called as hormones also. Okay, so as we talked about that hormones are secreted by the tissues, and these tissues are organs. Tissues or organs, they are called as glands. So whatever the special tissues or organs which make, which form, which release the hormones, they are called as glands. The special tissues or the organs which release the hormones are called as glands. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about hormones are very specific in their work. Hormones, they are very specific in their activities and act on specific organ. Hormones are very specific in their activities and work only on specific organ. Like for example, if there is any hormone which is meant for the functioning of the pancreas, that will work only on pancreas. It will not work anywhere else. Same way, if there is hormone which is for the metabolism, so this hormone which is for the metabolism will not work for the other activity. So hormones are very specific. One hormone is doing that particular type of work only. It can't do other work. Okay, hope it is clear. Now let us see the next one. Hormones can be secreted, the hormones can be released by two types of glands. What? Hormones can be released by two types of glands. And what are glands? Glands are tissues or organs. Glands are tissues or organs. There are some tissues or organs which are called as glands, and these glands, they secrete the hormones. Okay, hormones are secreted by the tissues or some organs. These tissues or organs are called as glands. These tissues and organs are called as glands. So same way, there are two types of glands. One are exocrine glands, or next one is endocrine glands. You can also call them as exocrine and endocrine. So whatever the exocrine glands and endocrine glands are there, let us talk about them. So what are exocrine glands? See children, exocrine glands are the glands which are secreted in small quantities and are released to the target organ. They are secreted by some gland. Exocrine glands, they secrete the hormones in small quantity, and then they carry these hormones by the help of duct. Okay, when the hormone is carried by the duct. When hormones are carried by duct, you know, tubes. Duct means tubes. Then these type of hormones which are released and carried by the ducts, they are said to be released by the exocrine glands. Okay, so whatever the exocrine glands are there, these release the hormones, and these hormones, they go to several parts, different parts or the organ, target organ, by the help of duct. And similarly, whatever the exocrine glands are there, they are also secreted by the endocrine glands are there. Whatever the endocrine glands are there, they are also secreting the hormones. But these hormones, they do not travel by the help of duct. They do not travel by ducts. Then how they will go to some different organs? How they will go? These hormones which are released by the endocrine glands, they go to different organs by the help of blood. Okay, so the hormones released by the endocrine glands are released into blood, and they do not require any duct. They do not require any duct. Okay, they do not require any duct. Endocrine glands release hormones, and the endocrine hormones, the glands which release endocrine hormones are called as endocrine glands. And endocrine glands, whatever the hormones they release, they are directly released into the blood. So for that, they do not require any duct. So endocrine glands are also called as ductless glands. Okay, you can see here, this is endocrine gland, this is endocrine gland, this is gland, and here it is connected by blood vessels. So whatever it will release, it will go into the blood. Whatever the hormone it will release, it will go into the blood. And whatever the exocrine gland is there, whatever the hormone it will release, it will go to different parts directly by the help of some tubes. For that, some tubes are going to be carried. Okay, for endocrine glands, the hormones are going through the in endocrine glands, hormones are going through the blood. In endocrine glands, hormones are traveling through the blood. In exocrine glands, hormones are traveling through the ducts. They are traveling through the ducts. Okay, so in endocrine glands, the endocrine glands, the hormones move to targeted organs through bloodstream. Okay, and hormones are made at some organ. Suppose this is the body, this is site 1. Here suppose the hormone is made, and this is site 2, some other organ. So wherever the hormone is made, here suppose it is made, so here it will not work. It will work at some other site. Okay, so hormones are made at some part but act at different site. Wherever they will be made, there they will not work. They will go to some other place, and at the next place, at the other place, on some other organs, the hormones will work. Okay, is it clear? Now let us talk about the endocrine glands. So you know now that whatever the ductless glands are there, the glands which flow, form the hormones, and these hormones, they directly flow into the blood. Okay, now whatever the hormones of the endocrine glands are there, these hormones, they flow into the blood. Okay, they do not require any kind of a duct. So they don't require any kind of a duct. So that is why they are called as ductless glands. Endocrine glands are ductless glands. Why? Because hormones will directly move into the blood. So what are the various glands of endocrine system? Whatever the endocrine system is there, children, various glands of endocrine nature, they will form the endocrine system. Different endocrine glands, they will combine together and they will form endocrine system. So what is endocrine system? A system of glands which contains endocrine glands. A system which contains endocrine glands is called as endocrine system. So whatever the endocrine system is there, it comprises several glands, the endocrine glands, which are pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, pancreas, adrenal glands, gonads, and thymus. So let us talk about the pituitary gland first of all. Let us see. You can see this is the pituitary. This is the pituitary gland. You can see this pituitary gland is called as the master gland of our body, and it is very small. It is having the size and shape like a pea. Pea, you know, mutter. So it is having the size of pea. It is having the size of pea. Okay, it is present at the base of midbrain. Here this is midbrain. This is midbrain. Here at the base of midbrain it is present. Here the pituitary is present at the base of midbrain. Suppose this is midbrain. Suppose this is midbrain. So at the base, at the bottom of the midbrain, the pituitary gland is present, and it is very small. You can see it is very small. It is very small. It is having the size of a pea. Okay, it is very small. It is having the size of a pea. Okay, at the base of the midbrain it is present. Pituitary or hypophysis. Other name of pituitary gland is also called as hypophysis, and it is attached to the hypothalamus. This portion is called as thalamus. This region is hypothalamus. This portion is hypothalamus. So at the base or the tip of the hypothalamus, this pituitary gland is situated. This pituitary gland is situated. This pituitary gland is situated at the hypothalamus. At hypothalamus, by the help of a stalk, like a stem, a stalk is there. By the help of stalk, like a leaf stalk is there. Suppose this is a leaf. So this leaf is having one stalk over here. Same way, a stalk is there with the pituitary gland, and this stalk here, this stalk, you can see here, this stalk, you can see here, this stalk is connecting to the hypothalamus region. This stalk is connected to the hypothalamus region. Here this is hypothalamus and this is the pituitary gland, and it is connected by the help of a stalk. It is connected by the help of a stalk. Pituitary gland is connected to the hypothalamus by the help of a stalk. And children, very important, whatever our pituitary gland is there, or hypophysis, pituitary gland is also called as hypophysis or master gland. So this pituitary gland is having two lobes. One is anterior lobe, this is anterior lobe, and another is posterior lobe. This is posterior lobe. Anterior lobe and posterior lobe. So whatever the anterior lobe is there, it is called as adenophysis. This portion is also called as adenophysis. And here whatever the posterior lobe is there, it is also called as neurohypophysis. Okay, anterior lobe is called as adenohypophysis and posterior lobe is also called as neurohypophysis. Okay, once more I can repeat that it comprises, pituitary gland comprises two lobes. One is anterior lobe, another is posterior lobe. This is anterior lobe and here this is posterior lobe. So whatever the anterior lobe is there, it is called as adenohypophysis, and posterior lobe is called as neurohypophysis. Okay, all the main glands, they are supported by the help of pituitary gland. All the glands are supported by the help of pituitary gland. That is why pituitary gland is called as master gland. Why pituitary gland is called as master gland? Because it is supporting other glands of our endocrine system. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about hormones which are secreted by anterior lobe. The hormones which are secreted by anterior lobe, this part, that is the adenohypophysis. The first hormone which is very important is growth hormone. This growth hormone, that is in short it is also called as GH, helps in growth of muscle. The growth hormone helps in the growth of muscles, cartilage and bones. Okay, muscles, cartilage and bones. And it also impacts the metabolism. Whatever the breaking down of proteins, breaking down of carbohydrates and formation of energy, production of energy is there, it is called as metabolism. This metabolism and the growth of muscles, growth of cartilage, growth of bone is also affected by growth hormone, that is GH hormone. Its name suggests growth hormone. Deficiency of GH hormone leads to dwarfism. See this dwarfism, less height, small height. Okay, so growth hormone deficiency, when less amount of growth hormone is produced, it causes dwarfism. Okay, and its over secretion means when more amount of growth hormone is secreted, you will get like a gigantism condition will come. Okay, so the growth hormone should be secreted in normal amount. Okay, then only your body will be normal. This is normal. Okay, hope it is clear. Let us talk about next, that is TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, this is also released by the anterior pituitary gland. Okay, this is also released by the anterior pituitary gland. So it controls thyroid gland. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, controls the thyroid gland. Here in the trachea, in the windpipe, the thyroid gland is present. So thyroid gland is controlled by the help of a hormone released by the anterior pituitary gland, that is called as TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Hope it is clear. Let us talk about other hormones which are released by the anterior pituitary gland, okay, anterior pituitary gland, adenohypophysis. Gonadotropic hormones are released by the anterior pituitary gland. They are also released by the anterior pituitary gland. They are released by pituitary gland, but anterior pituitary gland. They are also released by the anterior pituitary gland. So here there are some hormones. One hormone is there, gonadotropic hormone, that is LH. LH means luteinizing hormone, and one is FSH, follicular stimulating hormone. So what is the function of LH? LH affects the sperm formation. Whatever the sperms are formed, they are formed by the help of LH, luteinizing hormone, in males. And in females, whatever the ovum, the egg cell is formed, this egg cell is also formed by the help of LH, that is luteinizing hormone. Okay, so this luteinizing hormone is affecting the formation of sperm and ovum or egg cell. In males, it is helping to form the sperms. In females, it is helping to form the ovum. Hope it is clear. Now what is the function of FSH? FSH, follicular stimulating hormone. In males, FSH secretes the testosterone hormone. Okay, in males, FSH secretes testosterone hormone. So what is the function of testosterone hormone? It controls the secondary sexual characteristics of male. And in females, it releases ovum or egg cell. See here, there is a difference. Luteinizing hormone was forming ovum in females, and whatever this follicular stimulating hormone, LH, is forming ovum, and FSH is releasing the ovum. FSH is helping to release the ovum. And there is one more hormone. Secreted by the adenohypophysis, that is the anterior pituitary gland. This hormone name is, the anterior pituitary gland is also secreting one more hormone called as prolactin, that is PRL. Prolactin is helpful for the synthesis, for secreting the milk by a mother after the childbirth. Okay, which is very, very important for feeding a child. Okay, now let us talk about the hormone secreted by neurohypophysis. Neurohypophysis means posterior lobe or posterior pituitary lobe. Previously we were talking about anterior pituitary, that is anterior lobe of pituitary gland. Now we will be talking about posterior lobe of pituitary gland. posterior lobe of pituitary gland, this lobe. This is anterior pituitary lobe, this is posterior pituitary lobe. Anterior pituitary lobe we have talked about. Now we will talk about posterior pituitary lobe. See, posterior pituitary lobe secretes many hormones. The first hormone which we will talk about is vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone, ADH. This antidiuretic hormone, this ADH, the antidiuretic hormone, is helpful for reabsorption of water, okay, in the kidney tubules. In the kidney tubules, these kidney tubules, here the water has to be reabsorbed. Water has to be reabsorbed. Some amount of water has to be reabsorbed. So this water reabsorption is done by the vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone. One more hormone which is released by the posterior pituitary lobe, posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, is oxytocin. See, this oxytocin hormone helps in the expansion of uterus. During the time of a delivery of a baby, that is during the time of parturition, when the birth of a small child is going to occur, at that time the expansion and contraction of the uterus walls is done by the oxytocin, and oxytocin is released by the posterior pituitary gland. Oxytocin is released by the posterior pituitary gland, this purple color portion which we are talking about. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about the other glands. Those hormones which you studied were released by the anterior and posterior pituitary parts. Anterior and posterior pituitary parts means anterior and posterior lobes of the pituitary gland. Now we will be talking about separate glands. One more type of endocrine gland is thyroid gland. Let us talk about thyroid gland. You can see that it is a butterfly shaped gland present at trachea. This portion you can see, this is trachea. This is trachea. This is trachea. This trachea means this is the windpipe. This is windpipe. Okay, trachea means windpipe. So now you can see that thyroid gland is a butterfly shaped gland. This is a butterfly shaped gland. Let us talk about this is thyroid gland. This is thyroid gland. You can see, and it comprises of two lobes. This is one lobe. This is another lobe. So thyroid gland is made up of two lobes. This one lobe, another this one lobe. Hope it is clear. See children, thyroid gland is made up of cuboidal epithelium. You can see here some type of tissue is there. This is cuboidal epithelium tissue. This tissue is cuboidal epithelium tissue. You can see granulated type it is looking like. Okay, so these tissues, the lobes of the thyroid gland, they release two hormones which are triiodothyroxine. This is releasing triiodothyroxine. Okay, triiodothyroxine. In short, it is also called as T3. As well as it is also releasing one more hormone which is called as tetraiodothyroxine or T4. So in short, we will talk about T3 and T4. So your thyroid gland is secreting two hormones, triiodothyroxine and tetraiodothyroxine, that is T3 and T4. So what is the function of T3 and T4? It controls basal metabolic rate, that is BMR. Basal metabolic rate means that breaking down of carbohydrate, breaking down of protein, breaking down of fats to give out energy. Okay, to give out energy. So whatever the metabolism is done, this metabolism is also affected by T3 and T4 hormones. It also maintains your body temperature. Thyroid gland hormones, whatever the hormones released by the thyroid gland, that is T3 and T4, they also help to maintain the body temperature, and they also control the nervous system, central nervous system, CNS, that is the brain and spinal cord. They also control the brain and spinal cord. Okay, T3 and T4 are the hormones secreted by thyroid gland, which controls BMI, basal metabolic rate, maintains body temperature, and controls our nervous system. Hope it is clear. Okay, you can pause the video, you can take down the notes. Now children, the less secretion of thyroid hormones, that is T3 and T4 hormones, are impacted. The T3 and T4 hormones, they should be released properly. For that, some chemicals are needed by your thyroid gland. They are iodine and tyrosine. These are two types of amino acids, children. Iodine and tyrosine, they are types of amino acids. They are the two types of amino acids. So these two types of amino acids, they help your thyroid gland. They help your thyroid gland to release two hormones, T3 and T4, that is triiodothyroxine and tetraiodothyroxine. Now, hypothyroidism means when your thyroid gland is secreting less T3 and T4 hormones. When your thyroid gland is secreting less, hypo means less. So when your thyroid gland is secreting less hormones, that is T3 and T4 hormones are less, then on your neck, swelling will come on your neck. This swelling on the neck is called as goiter. And it is due to hypothyroidism. Means when less amount of T3, T4 hormones are released, thyroxine hormones are released less in number, less in amount by the help of thyroid gland, then neck is going to swell. Okay, one more condition comes, that is called as cretinism. This kind of condition is called as cretinism. Here you can see there is a person. Here the distorted mental growth and body growth will be improper. Here you can see the person's head is very large, hands are small, legs are small, stomach is very large. So body growth is not proper, and this person is looking as mentally retarded. Mental growth is not proper. Okay, so hypothyroidism, when less amount of T3 and T4 hormones are released by thyroid gland, then two conditions come. One is goiter, another is cretinism. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about hyperthyroidism. Hyper means more. When more hormones are released by the thyroid, when thyroid gland is secreting more hormones, when T3 and T4 hormones are released more, thyroxine hormones are released more, then what is happening? The person is going to have increased basic metabolic rate. Means the person's metabolism is more fast and the person's body temperature is very high. Every time the temperature of the person's body is high, body weight is lost. So this is also not good. Hypothyroidism is also not good. Hyperthyroidism is also not good. It is also not good, and this is also not good. Why? Because hyperthyroidism, person's secretion of thyroid hormone increases, and BMR, basic metabolic rate, increases, means breakdown of protein, fat, lipids, carbohydrates. It becomes very fast. So due to that, person's body weight gets lost and person becomes very thin and lean, and the temperature of the body also becomes very high. Person starts sweating, profuse sweating, more and more sweating will occur in that fellow. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about parathyroid hormone. So what is parathyroid hormone? See, this parathyroid hormone, just a minute children, parathyroid hormones are released by parathyroid gland. Let us make a correction in this. It will not be parathyroid hormone, it will be parathyroid gland. So children, whatever the parathyroid glands are there, here this you cut and here you write gland. Parathyroid gland, it contains 4 oval structures at the back of thyroid gland. You can see this is thyroid gland, this is thyroid gland, butterfly shaped thyroid gland, and here you will see 4 oval structures, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Four oval structures you can see very well. So these oval structures are present at the back side of the thyroid gland. They are present at the back side of the thyroid gland, and parathyroid gland releases a hormone called as parathormone. Parathyroid gland releases one hormone called as parathormone. And what is the function of parathormone? That parathormone controls and regulates ions in our body. Which ions? Phosphorus ion, calcium ion, in bones, in kidneys, and intestine. These ions are controlled by parathormone. And hyposecretion means less secretion of parathormone will cause muscle cramp and body pain. Pain in the body will be caused due to less secretion of the parathormone. When parathormone is secreted less by parathyroid gland, then body problems will come. Ion filtration will not be done properly, regulation of ions will not be done properly, and muscle cramp and body pain will be caused. Hope it is clear. Okay, so whatever the parathyroid glands are there, parathyroid glands, these are the four oval structures at the back of the thyroid gland, at the back side of the thyroid gland, which secrete parathormone and helps to maintain the phosphorus, calcium levels in the bones, kidneys and intestine. Okay, hope it is clear. Now let us talk about pancreas. Pancreas contain one portion called as islets of Langerhans. This is the part which will be considered as our endocrine gland in this portion. So let us talk about that. Pancreas are located in our abdomen. You have seen the digestive system diagram. If you have forgot, then you can see it again in the copies. You will see in the book, in the NCERT book, you can see the pancreas. So pancreas is situated in the abdomen. It is situated in the abdomen. Okay, you can see here, this is abdomen portion. Here the pancreas are situated. It is an elongated gland. You can see this is pancreas, this is elongated gland. This you can see it is elongated gland. I am coloring with red over here. This is elongated gland. So this is elongated gland, and it is situated at a loop of duodenum and stomach. This is the loop of duodenum and stomach. You can see here, this is the loop of duodenum and stomach. Here stomach is there, and here this is duodenum portion. Okay. So whatever the pancreas is there, it is situated in between the loop of duodenum and stomach. Hope it is clear. Now what is the function of pancreas? Pancreas is having exocrine as well as endocrine nature. So first of all, talk about exocrine nature. That pancreas has exocrine nature. It releases pancreatic juices for digestion. It releases pancreatic juice. But we have to talk about endocrine nature. So whatever the endocrine region of the pancreas is there, whatever the endocrine region means, whatever endocrine region is there, here these portions which I am marking, these are called as islets of Langerhans. These portions are called as islets of Langerhans. Okay, these islets of Langerhans, they release two hormones. One is insulin, another is glucagon. Islets of Langerhans secrete two hormones called as insulin and glucagon. Whatever the insulin is there, insulin, we have understood what it is doing, that it is decreasing glucose level. It lowers down, it decreases, it makes the glucose level less in our body. How it makes the glucose level less in our body? By making the glucose to get converted into glycogen and storing it into the liver. Okay, it makes the glucose to get converted into, whatever the insulin is there, insulin makes the glucose level decrease. It decreases the glucose level. How it will decrease the glucose level? By breaking down of glucose, by converting glucose into glycogen. This glucose will get converted into glycogen, and this glycogen will get stored in the liver. It will get stored in the liver. Okay, like this the amount of glucose will become less. Fine, it is clear. Now, whereas the function of glucagon, one more hormone is secreted by islets of Langerhans, glucagon. This glucagon is breaking down glucose. Actually, insulin is decreasing the glucose, but glucagon is increasing the glucose level. So, how glucagon is increasing the glucose level? Glucagon breaks down the stored glycogen. Glycogen was stored in the liver. So this glycogen is broken down and again it is converted into glucose by the help of glucagon. So glucagon breaks down the glycogen and it converts the glycogen into glucose again. Okay, you may have understood, children, that now let us see the deficiency of the insulin. The deficiency, when suppose insulin is less produced, when insulin is less produced by islets of Langerhans, okay, then what will happen? Then the person will be suffering from a disease called as diabetes mellitus. Okay, when the islets of Langerhans, they produce less amount of insulin, when the islets of Langerhans produce less amount of insulin, then the increase in blood sugar level will be there. Then the blood sugar level will rise. Blood sugar level is rising. Less insulin, more blood sugar. When the amount of insulin is less, then the blood sugar will become high in the blood. When the blood sugar will become high in the blood. Okay, when the insulin produced by the islets of Langerhans is less, then the blood sugar level will be rising and the person will person will release sugar in the urine also. In the blood, sugar will rise. In the blood, the sugar level will rise. In the urine also the sugar will be released. Person will feel more thirsty. Person will have swelling in the body. Person will have swelling under the eyes also. So this condition is called as diabetes mellitus, which is very, very harmful. Now let us talk about adrenal gland. This is also one type of an exocrine gland. Adrenal gland. See, adrenal glands are called as suprarenal glands. Why suprarenal glands? Because they are located above kidneys. Adrenal glands, these are adrenal glands, they are located above the kidneys. Here I am marking. You can see they are located above the kidneys. So adrenal glands secrete cortisol, adrenaline as well as noradrenaline. Adrenal glands secrete some hormones called as cortisol, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Okay, adrenal glands which are present on the kidneys, on the top of the kidneys, they release the hormones called as cortisol, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Now what is the function of these hormones released by the adrenal gland? What are the functions of these hormones? See children, these hormones, cortisol, adrenaline and noradrenaline. So first of all, understand cortisol hormone function. Cortisol hormone function helps to regulate metabolism and ion balance. Regulate metabolism. Metabolism, again and again I am telling that breaking down of the carbohydrates, proteins and fats to produce energy, that is metabolism. Same way, balancing of ions, potassium ions, calcium ions, sodium ions, all these ions are balanced in your body by the help of cortisol. Same way, now let us talk about the adrenaline and noradrenaline. These are the hormones which are called as the flight, fright and fight hormones. Okay, these hormones, the adrenaline, noradrenaline adrenaline, noradrenaline, these are used for coping up the fight, flight and fright conditions. Okay, that is F3 conditions. Okay, that is why the adrenal gland, it helps to fight, it helps to cope up, it helps to deal with the flight, fright and fight condition. Suppose you are frightened, you are fearing while you are fighting, or you are doing some physical activity, then at that time these adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones are released into your body by the help of adrenal gland, and it helps to cope up the situation. This adrenal gland is also called as an emergency gland. Okay, it is also called as emergency gland. Hope it is clear. Now let us talk about gonads. Gonads, see children, gonads are the reproductive organs, male and female reproductive organs, which have secreting function, means they can release some hormones like testis in the males. Here you can see testis in the males. If you talk about testis in the males, you can see here testis in the males. These testis in the males, they produce Leydig cell. These Leydig cells secrete a hormone called as testosterone. Okay, testosterone hormone is secreted by Leydig cell in the testis. Okay, in the testis, the Leydig cell are there. These Leydig cell, they secrete testosterone hormone. Testosterone hormone helps for spermatogenesis, formation of sperms, as well as it brings the secondary sexual characteristics like growth of hairs on the body, change of the voice, deepening of the voice in the boys and the males. This is done due to testosterone hormone released by the testis, whereas testis, okay, or the Leydig cell in the testis. Now let us talk about ovaries. See, ovaries, these are ovaries, they release hormones called as progesterone and estrogen. Which hormones the ovaries release? Progesterone and estrogen. Estrogen hormone helps in the egg formation. Here ovum or egg cells are formed. These egg cells are formed by the help of estrogen. Estrogen forms egg cell. Okay, and progesterone helps in the pregnancy. Progesterone hormones helps in the pregnancy. Now whatever this estrogen hormone is there, this estrogen hormone also controls the secondary sexual characteristics of the females, that is widening of the hip girdle, growth of mammary glands, as well as changing of the voice, as well as secondary sexual characteristics are controlled by the estrogen hormone in the females. So hope it is clear, I think. Now let us talk about the last hormone, that is thymus gland. This thymus gland is situated at the lower end of trachea. You can see whatever the windpipe is there, this windpipe at the lower end of the windpipe. You can see this is the windpipe. Here at the lower end of the windpipe, inside the chest, thymus gland is present. So what is the function of thymus gland? Thymus gland secretes a hormone called as thymosin. Thymus gland secretes thymosin hormone. Okay, thymus gland secretes thymosin hormone. What is the function of thymosin hormone? It produces a special type of WBC. Called as lymphocyte, and helps to support your immunity, helps to fight from the diseases. These WBCs, which are called as lymphocyte, they are secreted by thymosin hormone, and thymosin hormone is secreted by thymus gland. So the lymphocytes which are in the thymus gland, they are helpful for the immunity. So Thymus gland, let us talk about again that it releases thymosin hormone, and thymosin hormone supports the production of lymphocytes, which are the type of WBC, and these lymphocytes, they help in our immunity. Hope it is clear, children. So hope you people are continuing your studies. You are lowering down the risk of COVID-19 infection. You may be washing your hands with the soap and water, or by the help of sanitizer. You may be covering your hand while coughing or sneezing. You are also maintaining a social distance with the others, and you are staying at home. You are being safe. You are taking your care, taking a good diet, and you are continuing your studies also. So children, thank you for today. We will meet up with the new lecture in biology.